Good morning. I'm Mike Michaud, a member of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick on this Wabanaki land that we now call Brunswick, Maine. Today is May 22nd. Our interim minister, Reverend Justine Sullivan, will lead this morning's service. For those who may be new or visiting, our Charities with Soul program involves sharing 50% of the plate with organizations within our community and beyond. Our Charity with Soul for the month of May is the Oasis Free Clinics, supporting their goal of providing no-cost medical, dental, and prescription assistance services to our uninsured neighbors in Brunswick and neighboring towns. And finally, please take a moment to silence or mute your phones. Thank you.
I am filling in for Bill Clark this morning. I'm David Q. I'm going to read the warrant for our annual meeting, which is in 2 weeks. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick hereby notifies all current members to attend a congregational meeting to be held in person and online via Zoom conference on the 5th of June, 2022 at 11:15 a.m. to consider and act on the following articles. To approve the minutes of the annual congregational meeting of June 13th, 2021, and to approve the board's recommended budget for the fiscal year 2022-23, and to receive the nominating committee's report and elect trustees for open seats, church officers, moderator and nominating committee for 2022-23, and to consider any other business as appropriate and agreed to by the assembled congregation. This notice will be posted in the weekly newsletter this week at UUCB for 2 weeks prior to the meeting, and the warrant will be read as part of the virtual services for 2 Sundays prior to the meeting, virtual and live services.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Justine Sullivan, and I am your minister during this interim time. As Louise lights our chalice, let us hold in mind the people of Buffalo, New York. Yesterday, the mayor called for a moment of silence in honor of the 10 killed and the 3 injured. Certainly, thoughts and prayers are not sufficient, but they are necessary. Let us begin there and hold them in love. Our opening words this morning are by the Reverend Angela Herrera. Consider this an invitation to you. Yes, you. With all your happiness and your burdens, your hopes and regrets. An invitation if you feel good today, and an invitation if you do not, if you are aching, and there are so many ways to ache. Whoever you are, however you are, wherever you are in your journey, this is an invitation into peace. Peace in your heart, peace in your heart, and with every breath, peace in your heart. Let us be together in worship, and let us sing together our opening song, number 1 in our hymnal, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
Oh,
I see only one younger person with us today, and so I'm not going to make you come up here, Sam. And later, if you say, man, I was looking forward to that, I apologize in advance. But something you probably already know, Sam, but I will share it with the grown-ups. These stories that Tobin and I read are really for everyone, sometimes most especially for the grown-ups. So you can relax. This reading is called 11, and it's by Sandra Cisneros. What they don't understand about birthdays and what they never tell you is that when you're 11, you're also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 4 and 5 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10, and you are underneath the year that makes you 11. Like some days you might say something stupid, and that's the part of you that's still 10. Or maybe some days you might need to sit on your mama's lap because you're scared, and that's the part of you that's still 5. And maybe one day when you're all grown up and maybe you will need to cry like if you're 3, and that's okay. That's what I tell Mama when she's sad and needs to cry. Maybe she's feeling 3. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. You don't feel 11, not right away. It takes a few days, weeks even, sometimes even months before you say 11 when they ask you. And you don't feel smart 11. Nope, not until you're almost 12. That's just the way it is. Only today, I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today, I wish I was 102 instead of 11, because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine, instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. Whose is this? Mrs. Price says, and she holds the red sweater up in the air for all the class to see. Whose? It's been sitting in the coat room for a month. But nobody can remember. It's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I would not say so. Not mine, not mine, not mine. But Mrs. Price is already turning to page 32 and math problem number 4. I don't know why, but all of a sudden, I'm feeling sick inside. Like the part of me that's 3 wants to come out of my eyes, only I squeeze them shut tight and bite down on my teeth real hard and try to remember today I'm 11. Mama is making a cake for me tonight, and when Papa comes home, everybody will sing, happy birthday to you. But when the sick feeling goes away, and I open my eyes, the red sweater's still sitting there like a big red mountain. I move the red sweater to the corner of my desk with my ruler. I move my pencil and books and eraser as far from it as possible. I even move my chair a little to the right. Not mine, not mine, not mine. In my head, I'm thinking, how long till lunchtime? How long till I can take the red sweater and throw it over the schoolyard fence? Or leave it hanging on a parking meter? Or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it in the alley? Except when math period ends, Mrs. Price says loud and in front of everybody, now, Rachel, that's enough. because she sees I've shoved the red sweater to the tippity-tip corner of my desk and it's hanging all over the edge like a waterfall, but I don't care. Not mine, says everybody, not me. It has to belong to somebody, Mrs. Price says. Maybe because I'm not exactly skinny, maybe because she doesn't like me, that stupid Sylvia Saldivar says, I think it belongs to Rachel. An ugly sweater like that, all raggedy and old, but Mrs. Price believes her. Mrs. Price takes the sweater and puts it right on my desk. But when I open my mouth, nothing comes out. That's not, you're not mine, I finally say in a little voice that was maybe me when I was 4. Of course it's yours, Mrs. Price says. I remember you wearing it once. Because she's older and the teacher, she's right, and I'm not. Rachel, Mrs. Price says. She says it like she's getting mad. You put that sweater on right now and no more nonsense. But it's now, Mrs. Price says. This is when I wish I wasn't 11. Because all the years inside of me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, are pushing at the back of my eyes when I put one arm through one sleeve of the sweater that smells like cottage cheese, and then the other arm through the other, and stand there with my arms apart like if the sweater hurts me, and it does, all itchy and full of germs that aren't even mine. That's when everything I've been holding in since this morning, since when Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk, finally lets go. And all of a sudden, I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11, and it's my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on the desk and bury my face in my stupid clown sweater arms. My face all hot and spit coming out of my mouth because I can't stop the little animal noises coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes. And it's just my body shaking like when you have the hiccups. And my whole head hurts, like when you drink milk too fast. But the worst part, right before the bell rings for lunch, that stupid Phyllis Lopez, who is even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, says, ready for this? She remembers the red sweater is hers. I take it off right away and give it to her. Only Mrs. Price pretends like everything's okay. Today I'm 11. There's a cake Mama's making for me tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. There'll be candles and presents, and everybody will sing happy birthday, happy birthday. Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, but I wish I was 102. I wish I was anything but 11, because I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon, like a tiny O in the sky. Tiny, tiny. You have to close your eyes to see it. Here ends our time for all ages. Me again. So this is the time when we get to share what we have in support of this beloved community of faith. The morning offering will now be gratefully received. You can put cash or a check in the offering basket, or you can text your offering on your phone, and you folks at home can text on your phone or click on the link on our website. Oops, I gotta get the baskets. Let's say together our congregational response. May these offerings sustain and grow the work of this church, weaving a tapestry of love and action.
Good morning. I'm Irene Austin, one of the pastoral care associates. I'd like to share our joys and concerns with you today. There are no concerns written in the book today, but as Justine said, there are many concerns in our country and in our world that we keep in our hearts. For joys, after a difficult semester at Landmark College, Ben Heath had a very successful experience in a sailing course with the World Ocean School. As he returned from a week at sea on Thursday, he announced being offered a job for the summer on the crew of the schooner Rosemary. His dad, Mike, is joyful. Cindy Parker and Steve Eagles are happy to announce the arrival of a new grandchild, Simon William Garner, born May 20th, to Cindy's daughter Carly and her husband John. Mazel tov. And this from Sylvia Stocker. Steve and I want to thank you for the lovely send-off you organized for us on May 14th. Everyone had to wait a long time, nearly 2 years, to say a proper goodbye, but it was well worth waiting for. Everything meant so much to us, from the gorgeous location, to music, to cards, to poetry, to reminiscences, to video, to delicious food, and above all, the chance to reconnect with so many of you. You made it all seem so seamless, but we are sure there was a cast of people working behind the scenes to create such a spectacular fete. We thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts. I've said it 100 times before, and I imagine I will never cease saying it. You are a wonderful congregation, and both of us will always love you. Thank you and love, Sylvia. If you are watching from home and you have a joy or sorrow that you would like to have read in a service, please send your joy or concern to uucbjoysandsorrows@gmail.com. It's up on the screen, and it's also in UUCB's weekly email. And if you have a concern that you would like to discuss in private, please see a pastoral care associate. We have light blue ribbons on our name tags. We would be very happy to listen and help.
For the joy of babies and school years ending and summer jobs dreamed of on a sailing ship. Wow, what could be better than that? And for the love that this community has and will always have for your minister emerita, Sylvia Stocker, and her husband, Steve. Welcome, and what a joy it was to celebrate them and to be able to, for so many of us to gather. We are grateful. And as ones who have so much, we also ache for those who are grieving, who are worried, who are still hunkered down, waiting for greater safety, to allow them to return to in-person gathering. Let us be reminded that we can hold both joy and sorrow in this community of faith, this gathered community of love. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe.
Hi, I'm Carol Evans. I'm a member of the Transitions team and the sole member of the Legacy Giving Committee, should you want to chat with me. Our reading today comes from Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donoghue. As this year draws to its end, we give thanks for the gifts it brought and how they became inlaid within where neither time nor tide can touch them. The days when the veil lifted and the soul could see delight, when a quiver caressed the heart in the sheer exuberance of being here. Surprises that came awake in forgotten corners of old fields where expectation seemed to have been quenched. The slow, brooding times when all was awkward and the wave in the mind pierced every sore with salt. The darkened days that stopped the confidence of the dawn. Days when beloved faces shone brighter with light from beyond themselves, and from the granite of some secret sorrow, a stream of buried tears loosened. We bless this year for all we learned, for all we loved and lost, and for the quiet way it brought us nearer to our invisible destination.
I see that I missed another young person out in the, I'm not going to look in that direction just in case that would be offensive. You know, we tend to give that which we most want. And when I was, you know, middle school or that age, the last thing I would have wanted would to be like one of only a couple kids up in the front. So I just made that executive decision. So I hope that was okay. I was thinking about, remembering that about 30 years ago, this, because it was the summer before I was going to turn 30, which to me felt very old. And I thought, I'm about to turn 30, and what have I done with my life? And I had bought a new car a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years before, and I had a long commute, and the odometer turned 100,000 miles on my new car, and I thought, and I've been 100,000 miles, and I haven't gone anywhere. So I took a leave of absence from work and traveled around Europe. It was quite a time. And one of the reasons I did this was, like so many people in the United States, I studied French all the way through high school and even into college, but could hardly speak it. And you know, we might think that it's a problem with the way we teach foreign language, and we could say that, but I think it's really that we just don't speak other languages out in the world. I mean, so my thought was, quick, before I turn 30, I want to see if I can improve my French. So that was my idea. And I made these plans to, and I rented a flat in Paris for a month, and that would be kind of my base, and then from there I would travel around. And you know, I had really enjoyed the planning of it and imagining it. And I flew to London thinking, let me start someplace that I speak the language well, though even that, I have to tell you, was pretty daunting. And they also walk on the wrong side of the road. So I was forever, you know, excusing myself. And so I started out in London, and then took the boat across to France, and then was riding the train into Paris. And all the signs and the billboards on the buildings were in French. And I said, holy smokes. Everything's in French. You know, sometimes you actually get what you wanted. And then you have to, you know, go forward. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because it has been just a very hectic time. A couple of months ago, I was asked if I would serve on our UUA board, and they said, you know, nobody's going to run against you. We just really would love for you to serve. And I had said no once before, and I thought, okay, I'll say yes to that. I have time to serve on the board. And then I decided to throw my hat in the ring for this big job that I didn't think I really had a chance at getting, but I got that big job. And then I said, oh gosh, everything's in French. I have this big job, and I'm going to be serving on this board, which is, you know, a bit of a job. And then I got a call saying, oh, you actually have someone that's challenging you for this seat, which is good, right? We should have, I believe in contested elections, but that meant I had to create a website and actually build a campaign. And thank you, Sue Michaud, for your help in creating some materials for me that were really made me look a little less unprofessional in my campaign. So thank you for that. But so there's just been a lot going on in my life, and it's just that busy time of year, isn't it? Are we all feeling it? Those of you who are teachers, you're worried about getting grades in and helping your students prepare for their finals, and the students are kind of antsy, ready to be outside and enjoying things, but having to finish up the school year, and so it's a busy time. And I was, you know, this is the time when we kind of reflect on what has been our time together over these 2 years, focusing more on this year. But last church year, when we could not gather in person for worship, I got to tell you, that was really hard. Was it hard for you too? Yep. And so this year, from that first moment on September 12th, when I got to stand in this magnificent pulpit and look out at you and hear your laughter, That was so much better, and I am grateful for that every single week. I have never lost that, and my prayer is that I will never again take for granted just being able to be in the presence of a worshiping community. And then we hired Nell as our music director, and you might remember that she started on December 1st. I'll do the math for you. That's just 23 days before Christmas Eve. And in those few weeks, she pulled together the choir and other musicians and created a beautiful Christmas Eve service featuring our choir singing together, live, all at the same time, in the same place at the same time. Wasn't that something? And Nell, thank you so much. We thank you for that. And Heidi, I'm hoping you're watching at home or we'll see this later. I know we said thank you to you two back in November when you stepped down as choir director, but I want to thank you again for your leadership of the choir for so many, many years. And most especially during that time of the pandemic shutdown when the choir could only sing because you created all kinds of tools and practice tapes and then pieced together each individual voice to make a virtual choir. Something I'm sure you never imagined you would be doing, and we are so grateful. And during that same time of the shutdown, Judd Caswell made worship online happen. There's just no way around it. Without Judd, nothing would have been as good. So thank you, Judd, and also thank you, Stephanie Bernier, for all you did to herd the cats as music coordinator. And Heidi, back to you. You understood that if we could combine the three very part-time jobs of choir director, accompanist, and music coordinator into one, we could hire someone like Nell. And in fact, I believe it was you, Heidi, who reached out to Nell and let her know about this job opening. So Heidi, thank you again for your vision and for your generous spirit in making room for what might emerge next. And that is really what this time together has been about, is making room for what might emerge next. Our Director of Religious Exploration, Tobin Cooney-Kalnan, who is in Portland this morning, First Parish Portland, running the youth service, and there is a combined youth group, and so members of this congregation are actually over there in Portland celebrating their time together. Tobin has, hung in there, right, and tried all kinds of different ways to create and hold together community for the youngest members of our congregation. And one of the things that I would remind him of is that even though attendance might be down in our religious exploration classes, knowing that there's something here for folks to return to means everything. And I think that extends to the adults too, those who haven't yet felt ready to come back in person, knowing that we are here and will welcome folks back when they're ready to return is important. Our office administrator, Shirley Bernier, holds so many things together. The rental process is starting up again. She's getting lots of calls. She also gets calls from the community, people in need, and she handles all that. Certainly the orders of service and the slides and things like that. Shirley does a lot to keep this place running. And during the shutdown time, she was often the only person in the building, and she just kept things going. And Tony and Mary, our custodian team, you got to see Tony riding the Zamboni around the floor during the pledge drive when we had, that was my favorite video, I won't lie. And he promised me a ride on that. That's probably not the name for it, but I call it the Zamboni. So yes, we have amazing, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like a floor cleaner that you can stand on and like a, yeah, okay, I'm glad I explained that because you're thinking, what the heck is she talking about? Like those, you'll see people cutting grass standing on top of a mower, so this is like that, only it cleans the floor and it looks wicked fun. So we have this amazing staff. And even they and your minister, working just by ourselves, could not make this happen, this amazing, vibrant community of faith happen. It is our volunteer leaders that really make things sing. And I know that I'm going to leave someone or something important out. I'll do my best, and then I'll ask you for what I might have missed, but I want to try and recognize some of these amazing leaders and volunteers. The choir, of course. Thank you for providing such beautiful music. Now they're singing twice a month, and it's just so wonderful every time you sing. And thank you for, during the pandemic, every choir member was a soloist, right? Every choir member had to record their naked track and offer it up to the internet and have it be combined. And I think that took such courage and generosity. So thank you. I don't know about you, but a lot of people join choirs because they want to sing in a group, but they don't necessarily want to be a soloist, right? So thank you. Our Religious Exploration Committee, led by Hillary Clayton, support Tobin in his work, and they also have really helped to just hold that group of families with young children together, and so thank you to them. Cuffy Chase and Jane Danielson of the Working for Justice Committee really helped to kind of oversee and share information across the various activities that are happening so that there isn't duplication and so that things aren't left out and so that we have a cohesive social justice program. So thank you to them. And Lynn Ellis, she does so much. I mean, she's been involved with MUSAN, that's the statewide UU advocacy network. She's involved with the Maine Council of Churches. And I was talking with a friend yesterday who's part of a smaller emerging congregation, a federated congregation on Peaks Island. And she mentioned that she'd gone to some of the MUSAN meetings. And I said, well, Lynn Ellis is in my congregation. She said, Lynn Ellis is in your congregation? So Lynn, you are famous. The Buildings and Grounds Committee, led by Marilee Tiemann. And, they just make things happen, make things work. And I want to say a special thank you to Jennifer Butterworth for stepping up to lead our safety committee, and Mike Heath for all you do with everything having to do with this building and its systems. The COVID task force, led by Bill Clark. You've kept us safe. You helped us make good decisions based on the science so that we could gather. The membership committee, led by Lee Peranto. Those are the folks that welcome us and help us to stay together as a community. And Lee was really behind that party for Sylvia and Steve. So we thank you, Lee. Penny Elwell and the Caring Network, providing food and rides to people in need in our community after an illness or surgery. Julie Dahmer and the Pastoral Care Committee, who provide kind of ongoing companionship for people that need that support. And Julie also coordinates the ushers and greeters, and she serves as music librarian for the choir. And she occasionally gets out of town to do other things too. The worship committee, led for the first half of this year by Pat Moore and a wonderful group of worship associates. They come and they make sure that candles are lit and the chalice is ready to go and just all those things that need to happen behind the scenes. And they also help to think about what this community needs for worship, how we should think about worship together. The music committee, led by Louise Gephardt, one of their major accomplishments this year was in helping me to hire Nell. The communications committee, led by Glenn Williams. Glenn is peerless in his ability to focus on the essential and to make sure that communication is clear and timely, and it's the kind of thing that you notice the absence of more than the presence of, but I want to say that Glenn makes sure that we don't look stupid in the world. How's that? Or that, that we put a good face on things in the world. I'm still got that story in my mind of, people doing stupid things with sweaters and things. Where am I? The Personnel Committee, led by Linda Mallard and Charlie Evans, they help us with hiring and policies around that, and I believe Ken Drake will be joining them soon, which will be wonderful. Charlie also leads the Nominating Committee. There's a theme here, right? Many people wear many hats, bringing us all the leaders that you will soon vote on at the annual meeting on June 5th. And our Ministerial Search Committee, led by Mary Larson and Tom Rumpf. They brought you karma. And I think we should just take a moment. For those of you who are present, if you're willing, would you just rise and let us just see you and love you and acknowledge you? And our search committee, they put in so many hours. And the transitions team, also kind of behind the scenes group that Carol is part of, kind of advising me, especially when, imagine coming here, not really being able to see any of you or know any of you, and they helped me figure out who you are. So I'm grateful to them. And your Board of Trustees this year, ably guided by David Q with Secretary Bill Clark, and with our treasurer, Cindy Parker, who also helped lead the stewardship team. You know, leading, like being in charge of finance during a pandemic. Thank you, Cindy. That has been a monumental task. So we thank you all. Who have I missed? When you think of it, please tell me, and I'll find a way to honor you. And we'll have some time at the congregational meeting also. Yes, Anne. Oh, I even had written that down. I'm so sorry. Concerts for a Cause. Sue Michaud, another one who has a laser focus, I must say. And Sue Michaud and Mike and other folks that have worked with you. But Sue, I just see you as the one who had the passion for that. Sue understands, as so many of you do, the power of music in community. And as soon as it was safe to do so, Anne is holding up some, oh, okay, gotcha, okay. Speaking of communications, I'll come back to that. And remind me again, after I say this thing, because I can't remember two things at once. Anyone else with me on that? In fact, oh, what was I saying? Concerts for a Cause, yes. Sue understood that as soon as possible, we needed to kind of get back on the map as the place to come to hear fabulous music. And that doesn't happen like that. So she was always thinking ahead and encouraging us to open our doors, And I'm so grateful to you for that. And the other hat that Sue wears is as editor of our parish messenger. Is that why you were holding that up? Anne, thank you so much. I appreciate that. This year, on top of so many other things, Sue has picked up the editorial function of our parish messenger. And Sue also posts things on Facebook. She's kind of our social media manager. So again, helping us have a presence out in the world. That is part of your mission, right? Not to just be a community unto yourselves, but to shine your light. And the way we do that really is, in these days, through social media. So thank you, Sue, for all you do. And thank you, Anne, for helping me remember that. So let's keep talking and thanking one another. Saying thank you is important. The work that you all do is important. And I want to say there are seasons of leadership in the life of any congregation. There are times when we have more time and energy to give, times when we feel called to action, and we're so grateful to have a community where we can pursue that call. And there are times when we need to receive, when we just need to be in the presence of the holy, however we understand the holy, in a space filled with love and music. That is this place. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, this is the place for you. So may it be. Amen. And let us sing together our closing song, Love Will Guide Us, number 131. And this time I will remember to invite you to stand in body or spirit and sing. I'll close with a few words from Reverend Angela Herrera. And before I do that, I just want to say I have to kind of zip out after worship. I'm part of a memorial service in Massachusetts where it is going to be about 95 degrees, so pray for me. And if someone could just take responsibility for making sure that the door will be locked, because now with the new system, the door pretty much stays locked, but just make sure that the alarm is set and things are secure. I would appreciate that. From Angela Herrera. To be human is to be both free and limited. We all bumble around in that paradox, trying to carve out lives with order, love, and meaning. We stumble a lot. Sometimes we trip over our own feet and fall flat. How did Dick Van Dyke do that every week? Falling over that hassock, and then, he did it like a dancer, I guess. That's the difference. I do this, and then I lose my place. Sometimes we trip over our own feet and fall flat, but if we are lucky, we also experience wonder that a world with so much wrongdoing and misfortune and heartbreak is also marked by undefeatable love, rebirth, and connection. Peace and love to you. Carol McCoy wants to acknowledge the artwork, the beautiful artwork that I believe this display is by our own Carol Evans. And thank you, Art Committee, for making sure that the work of many local artists, many of them part of this congregation, is on display. So now we will have our postlude, and then please greet one another and have a beautiful rest of the day.